Matthew, then all the disciples forsook him and fled. And they that laid hold on Jesus led him away to Caiaphas. Mark, and they all forsook him and fled. And there followed him a certain young man, having a linen cloth cast around his naked body, and the young man laid hold on him, and he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. And they led Jesus away to the high priest. So that story of this random man having his cloak grabbed from him and he's running off without any clothes on, that's only in Mark. It's kind of random, but I'll still put it in there. I don't know why it's there. Luke, then they took him and led him and brought him to the high priest. So they don't have that all forsook him. John, then the band and the captain of officers and the Jews took Jesus and bound him and led him away to Annas first. He was the father-in-law to Caiaphas. So Matthew and Mark have that everyone dispersed. So I'll put that first. Eventually I decide to make a slight change in the order of events, but I'll explain it here now because it's relevant for what comes next. Matthew and Mark do start with the disciples forsaking him and fleeing, and then Jesus being taken from the garden to Caiaphas, the high priest. But they treat that as one event, just that they laid hold on him and led him to Caiaphas. Mark has something similar. They led Jesus away to the high priest. That's the only mention of him having left the garden and going anywhere else. But in reality, that would kind of be two events. Leaving the garden is the end of one event, and entering the palace of the high priest would be a second event. Luke has it that way. Then they took him and led him and brought him into the high priest's house. It's only a short separation, but taking him would be the fulfillment of what they tried to do earlier, but were interrupted by Peter. Now, after he said to stop, they did take him, they led him away from the garden, and brought him into the high priest's house. John has it similar to Matthew and Mark. The band, the captain and the officers, the Jews, took Jesus and bound him, that's an additional act, and led him away to Annas first. It doesn't say that they led him away from the garden, but that is how it should be stated. That would be the end of the arresting event in the garden before they take him anywhere else. But the way that Matthew, Mark, and John have it lead to a little bit of confusion with the order, because having the disciples fleeing first and then Jesus taken doesn't seem to make sense. If they were going to attack those who were arresting Jesus, and Jesus said not to fight back, it would make more sense that they would lay hold on Jesus, and in Mark, they would begin to lead Jesus away, and in Luke, they would take him and lead him away. Then, because of that, the disciples were already told not to fight back. That's when they're going to forsake him, flee. Then this random statement of this guy who is also being laid hold on. And then the statements about him being led all the way to the high priest's palace. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first put that they laid hold on Jesus. All the statements that are similar in Matthew. They led Jesus away from 53. From Luke, then they took him. And from John, then the band and the captain and officers of the Jews took Jesus and bound him. All of that first, before the disciples flee. So I have to put John first. Who it was that took him? Because Matthew just says they that laid hold on Jesus. Mark, just they. Luke, they. John says the band and the captain and officers of the Jews. And then before it took Jesus, I'll have for Matthew that had laid hold on Jesus. So everything from John first. Then. There's a then in Luke. So Luke and John. The band. And the captain and officers of the Jews. From Matthew now. That had laid hold on There's one small change I want to make. I never mentioned band before, because where I was before is in John 18:3. Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests. But I exchanged it for a great multitude, because a band I always imagine as a smaller group of people. Because of that, this next place where it mentions the band, then the band, and the captain and the officers, it doesn't mention what the band is. So it's going to be confusing, because earlier it was explained a band of men. So a group of men. I know the of men is in italics, but it actually does help here. So since I exchanged it with a great multitude, I don't need to explain that the multitude is of men or of human beings, because that's really what's being explained here. So this next place where the band would be used, the only place I am going to actually use the word, I do need the words of men there. And I don't need it here. So I'm going to take it out from here. I'll say the multitude and officers. But down here where it says band, I'm going to put of men, because I want it to be clear. Then the band of men, and the captain and the officers of the Jews. Now Jesus is named in Matthew. Jesus is named in Mark. Not in Luke. He is named in John. So Matthew, Mark, John. Jesus. John took Jesus, but I use Jesus, so I'll just have took him and bound him. Led him away. That has to come next. Mark led Jesus away. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save the name Jesus for later. Laid hold on him. Because these are the people that laid hold on him. Then they took Jesus. So I'll go with Luke. I'll exchange that him and Jesus from John and Luke. So this hymn will be from Luke only. Now, took Jesus. That's from John. Mark led Jesus. Took Jesus. Now, before they lead him away, John only, they bound him. Now, and led him away. That's John and Luke and Mark. And Matthew. So I need another and. So That and is from Matthew and Mark and Luke and John. Okay, all four. Led him away to Luke. Led, the him is in italics, so I won't have that. And brought him. So I could have and led him away and brought him into the high priest's house. Not exactly to the high priest, because John is pretty clear they go to Annas first, still in the high priest's house, because Annas is the high priest's father-in-law. So into the house should be explained first, Luke, which means that I should have and led him. Stop there. Led him is in John, led is in Luke, Mark, so led is all four. Now him, not to, away, just away is in Mark. Him away is John, him away is Matthew, not Luke, so led is all four. Matthew, John, him, away is Matthew, Mark, not Luke, but John. Now, then all the disciples forsook him and fled. Or, and they all forsook him and fled. I'll put the disciples instead of they. It's more descriptive. And I think I will put and then. Now, I'm going to go with and. It's actually been a while since I started a sentence that way. And from Mark. Not they all, but all the disciples. All is both, only Matthew, the disciples. Forsook him and fled.